Obamacare. Sources telling CNN that House Speaker Paul Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell want to see President Trump publicly back the congressional Republican plan, which Dr. Tom Price, the Health and Human Services Secretary, has been helping put together. But some conservative Republicans in Congress seem skeptical. Joining me now from Capitol Hill is Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. He serves on the Senate Foreign Relations, Homeland Security, and Health Committees. Senator Paul, thanks for joining me, as always.
Sure.
You and your colleagues, Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Mike Lee, have expressed some concern about the congressional Republican plan. What is your concern?
Well, you know, about a year ago, every Republican in the House and the Senate voted for what we thought was about as much as we could repeal. And we don't want to vote for anything less than that. We don't want to keep Obamacare light. We don't want to add in new subsidies or new entitlement programs. Look, the government's broke. We borrow $1 million a minute. So we want to completely repeal Obamacare, and we want to replace it with something, market reforms, that will lower the cost of health insurance for everyone. But we're not just going along with whatever they try to shove down our throats. We're going to be a big part of this. Conservatives will be listened to, or there won't be a repeal.
And one of the issues here, of course, is that in order to help those who right now have insurance through the Medicaid expansion, or perhaps have it because of the stipends that some people get through the Obamacare exchanges, some Republicans in Congress have proposed tax credits for these lower income people. You consider that a potential new entitlement program?
Refundable tax credits. This means you get back money you didn't pay, somebody else's money. It's the same as a subsidy or the same as Medicaid or some kind of entitlement, and it's not free. It's got to come from somewhere. So I don't think we can dress up Democrat ideas and put a Republican stamp on them, call them a tax credit, and say that we're giving them something different than what Obamacare was doing. What we should be for is lowering insurance premiums, lowering the rates, and letting working class people get good insurance at a less expensive cost. But we shouldn't dress up a new government entitlement program. We are bankrupt as a country because we're overextended already on the entitlement programs that we have without adding new ones.
I want to ask you about this breaking news this afternoon. CNN has learned that according to a senior administration official, President Trump would like to negotiate a compromise immigration bill. This senior administration official said that there needs to be a, quote, softening on both sides. The bill would allow those here illegally who are not violent, who haven't committed any serious other crimes, to stay as long as they hold a job and pay taxes. Would you support an effort like this?
I think the biggest sticking point for conservatives have been giving easy voting rights to people who came here illegally. But I've been one who wants to take a middle position. I think if you're here and you want to work and you will work and you're not a burden on the state and you're willing to promise to work and stay employed, yes, I think we ought to find a place for you. If you're one of these dreamer kids, I think we can get you permits to stay and legalize you. But what we should do is that should count against the immigration quotas. So if we're going to normalize a young dreamer kid that's been here 15 years, I'm all for it, but that should count against the quota from new people coming in. So basically what you're doing is you're internally immigrating people who are already here, but they should count as immigrants because we are normalizing them now. We should count them against the total of new people coming into the country.
All right, some room for compromise there. Let me ask you, President Trump also, we have learned this week, wants to increase defense spending by billions, tens of billions of dollars, while slashing other parts of the budget. You've spoken out against many American military engagements across the globe. The U.S., of course, spends more money on defense than at least the next 8 nations combined. Is a boost in the defense budget necessary in your view?
Since 9/11, we've doubled military spending in nominal terms. We're up about 50% in real terms. We spend a lot of money on the military. And I want a strong national defense, but I think we get a stronger national defense by looking at our foreign policy and not having another Iraq war, not having another war in Yemen, not having another war in Syria, and helping our allies, but without being the big daddy that has to pay for everything. So no, I don't think you can just widely expand military spending unless you're really, really going to like eliminate whole departments. And what typically happens up here is the hawks want more money for the military, the liberals want more money for welfare, and the typical compromise is in the end they both get what they want, and the taxpayer gets stuck with the burden of a $20 trillion debt.
And let me ask you also, because the White House is also considering slashing the State Department's budget. General Mattis, who is now the Secretary of Defense, said in 2013, if you don't fully fund the State Department, then I need to buy more ammunition. Do you agree with General Mattis?
There's a certain truth to that, and that diplomacy is very important, and the State Department is a big part of diplomacy. I'm not a huge fan of foreign aid that is given often to corrupt governments and has been wasted, squandered, and stolen over time. If you look at Egypt over a period of 30 years probably got $60 billion in foreign aid, and coincidentally the Mubarak family, mother, father, and kids are worth about 10 or 15 billion. And so I think a lot of corruption has happened in the foreign aid markets. We need to take care of some nation building here at home. But I do and am a supporter of diplomacy, and so I think you do have to have a sufficient State Department budget for diplomacy. Many of the wars around the world, including Syria, are going to involve a diplomatic solution, and there is no complete military solution to Syria until there is a diplomatic arrangement.
Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, thanks so much. Always good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
The federal government deported their mother back to Mexico for making up a Social Security number on a job application. Now these teenagers have made the journey